would you tell us a little bit about you?
Okay. My name is Lou. I run my fashion label Sanctus from London in my warehouse. I'm also a part-time model. Do I hold it there?
Yeah,
Up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not just me.
Yes, I model part-time, which is lovely. So that gets me out of the studio and not being a hermit all the time. I went to a Navy school when I was 11. I ran away when I was 13, and I count that as one of my achievements because I didn't like it. So I ran away.
Of course you did.
Duh! My mum's proud of me for that one as well. And I am a happy, I would say I'm an enlightened person. I feel happy every day. I practice gratitude every day, and I am just grateful for everything, everyone in my life. I'm very grateful for Jools because she did change so much about the way that I think and how I feel about myself and my life. So yes.
Well, you changed it. I just pointed it out. I keep saying I'm a facilitator of magnificence. That's what I do. One of the many, many interesting things about Lou is you wanted to be a model for quite a long time.
Yeah, I did.
But kept being told you were too short.
Yeah, too short, too old.
Yeah,
Too
and
all these things.
yet you're a model. You know, so I love the way you break down barriers and boundaries and say actually, no.
Excusez-moi, no.
Exactly. So let's go back to, 2 years I guess since we started working together.
Yeah.
What was going on 2 years ago when we first started having conversations? What was going on in your life and how were you feeling?
Well, I remember that first conversation that we had so well. Like, it's so vivid in my memory. It was New Year's Day, and I was telling Jools about how I felt like this little fish in this huge pond, and I was just thinking about graduation and thinking, what am I going to do when I graduate? Because all of my tutors and everyone were telling me about how difficult it was going to be and how much competition there was. So for me, I was feeling anxious every day. I felt like this hanging anxiety because the question was coming more and more frequently. What are you going to do? What are your plans post-university? And I just didn't know. I had no idea. I mean, I knew up until the point I got into my degree what I wanted to do. I wanted to, okay, fashion design, great. But then after that, it was just like, I imagined this tide was just going to come and sweep me up into it, and I had absolutely no control over what I was going to do. So that is how I was feeling at that moment. And speaking to you.
Yes, I remember it well too.
Yeah.
I've never seen you look so scared, I think. Anxious. Yeah, it was really noticeable because you're such a bright light. So, as you look back now with hindsight on that time, what was it, do you think, that was causing you to feel so bad?
I guess the not knowing, that was horrible, like feeling this weird sort of cloudiness, and I was looking into the future and I couldn't see. I didn't know. I just had absolutely no idea, and that was really frightening, not knowing. And thinking, where am I going to be in 6 months, let alone 5 years? Oh my God. So yeah, that was the frightening thing for me, not knowing.
Golly, a whole broad nothing.
And feeling powerless about it as well.
And I mean, I mentioned the stories that you were told at university. I mean, did they impact on you? Did all that impact?
The way my tutor spoke to me, absolutely, because you think, it's kind of like the respect your elders thing. You think, oh, my tutor, of course they're going to know better because they've been there, they've done that, they've studied. And so the things that they would say to us as students, we would all take it in because you're in a constant state of learning when you're studying. So you think, okay, so my tutor's telling me this, that is truth, that word is truth, because that's what they're there for, to tell you how to deal with things and how to get your dream job in fashion design. So yeah, it absolutely impacted me in a big way.
What did you do about that?
Well, I got you involved. That was the big thing. And, well, we found clarity. So that was huge. That was a really, really big deal and a huge step, and it took a bit of time. But having clarity and knowing what I wanted to do, and sort of getting rid of the idea of, oh, it's just like this sort of cloud of nothingness, and choosing it, and then having clarity and that visual idea of what I wanted. That's what we did.
We did. And I mean, how easy was it for you to, I mean, you're a very visual person, obviously. How easy was it for you to actually think, like we've done today, what is it that, because that's the question I asked you, what is it that I actually want? I mean, how easy was it, or difficult for you to think about that?
At first it was really difficult, and I remember we sort of had to work backwards, and it was thinking about what I didn't want first, because I couldn't think sort of out of the blue, oh gosh, okay, what is it that I wanted? So it was, okay, I don't want this, I don't want to feel like a little speck, you know, in a big project. I want to be appreciated, all of those things, and that was difficult initially. But then once you've got it, it just changes everything. Having that clear idea of what you want. Yeah.
In those early weeks and months, you said you got clear on what you wanted.
Yes.
At that point, bearing in mind that we evolve quite quickly when we're on this path, what was it that you wanted at that point?
At the time, I said that I wanted to be a designer and have my own brand going on, but I did think, oh, that would be 5 years, that would come eventually, that would come way down the line. But I knew that I wanted to work for designers that I really respected, or do styling for someone that I really respected. And I wanted to be appreciated. That was the big thing, I think, at the time. But then when I think about what I wanted at that time, things have changed a lot now.
But don't you think, looking back, the most important thing at the beginning of the process is starting something?
Yeah.
It's getting focus on something, the first thing, doing that, and then the subsequent somethings become apparent, don't they? But you have to be on the road with something to start with.
Yeah.
And once you've got that something, the next something and the next something
Absolutely
appears, doesn't it?
Yeah. I went to a few interviews for sort of assistant designer roles, and this is when I thought that that's what I wanted to do, to be a designer assistant. And I was offered a few jobs, and when they were all for minimum wage, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. You can stick it up their arse.
Yeah, up their arse. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like one of those things. I got onto my little track. I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for these jobs, and then I was offered these jobs, and then I was like, actually, no, the plan's changed. No, throw that out. New one, new path.
What changed as a result of getting started on this path?
The feelings I had towards myself, they changed in a big way, and
so what were you
my
feeling
thought processes. So initially,
about yourself,
there was no self-belief really, and I did feel just like this little, I keep saying, like this little fish, and there were all these other fish that were bigger than me and all sorts, and I realised that I was good at stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm talented, okay, I think I could do stuff, and I changed all of the way that I process things coming into my brain, and then how I process them and absorb them. So the negativity that I used to have towards myself is crazy. Even when I look at the first sessions that we had together and the things that I wrote down, and how it was sort of negative, even when I'm trying to write down positive things, the way I'd word them, because now it's completely changed. My whole sort of inner workings of my brain, it's so easy for me now to be positive and to love myself and to be my own best friend and be kind to myself and support myself. So that changed in a big way. Like it's huge, I think, and practicing gratitude and all that sort of thing, and feeling grateful, because even when you're feeling sad or you're not feeling in a good place, you're like, oh God, I've got this huge mountain to climb, and you can still count your blessings, and that's really important for me now in my day-to-day life.
So how long did it take you to get into this swing of thinking differently? Because that's what it really is about, isn't it? Changing the way you think initially.
Yeah. I think it's hard for me to say because I'm so used to feeling like this now.
It's hard to think back to how you used to be.
Yeah. But I think Oh gosh, 6 months. I honestly think that it was like a 180 for me, and then I've never looked back since then. But I think it was when I started to do things, and then I felt like, oh yeah, I'm in my flow, I'm getting in my zone. That's when you're kind of getting the feedback from the universe, like, oh yeah, this is what you're meant to be doing, and then it's kind of affirming for you to carry on. You're like, this is how it's meant to be.
And
oh great, this feels great. I should have been doing this the whole time. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's been amazing for me to watch Lou's growth and progress. Absolutely astounding, you know. So, what happened 18 months ago that you were told you'd never be able to do?
Oh, start my own business. Yes. So I started Sanctus with the last £200 in my overdraft. That was like the last, every single penny
your
I had.
overdraft.
My overdraft, so it wasn't even my money. And I was like, right, I could spend that on, I don't even know. But I ended up buying all of the equipment, just the startup money really, to start up the website, get the garments in. I was printing at the time, all the screen printing stuff. I literally started in my garage, printing vests, got a photo shoot together, got a lookbook, opened up the shop, there we go. And I was lucky enough to break even within a few weeks. And
well, I don't. That's luck.
Yeah, I hate saying that. No, it wasn't luck.
But blessed.
Yes, I was very, very blessed to break even within a few weeks, and then Sanctus has grown considerably since then. But yeah, that's how it started. So my tutors are saying, yeah, you need at least £30,000, and you need investment. You need this. You need all this stuff. Started it with 200 quid. That wasn't even my own money.
If it's possible for one person, it's possible for any person. You know, lose all the evidence. Anybody needs to know. If it's possible for you to do something that people said you couldn't do, it's possible for anybody to do anything they actually want. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%.
So, where has it led you today? Tell us about your business. Tell us about your clothing. Tell us about your clients.
Okay. So at the moment I do have absolutely everything myself in the business, but I'm working towards this year. I'm going to change that. But I have customers from all around the world, which is amazing. Most of my customers are in Australia and the US, which is mad. It's crazy. So it's like, how did you even hear about what I'm doing? But that's the glory of the internet. And so yes, I spend a lot of my time sewing, but it's all, I feel really grateful at the moment for what I do, because it's all direct to customer, it's very personal, so I make something from start to finish for that person. I put a little note in there to say thank you for supporting my business, and yeah, and it's brought me all sorts of opportunities, and I'm lucky enough to be getting publications and getting mentions in magazines, small ones at the moment, they'll get bigger.
I think what Lou's not saying here is one of the things we talked about in the very beginning was, if you, especially as a self-employed person, but in life in general, if you want something, you've got to go out and get it. So Lou did not sit in her bedroom. She was everywhere. She was out at the first fashion week you did, you wrote for a magazine. She just went to a magazine and said, can I write a fashion week for you? Last year you went, what did you do last year at Fashion Week?
Well, I went last season and I went the season before that, but I remember saying to you that my plan was that I'd be invited in my own right, and I was invited to Fashion Week just as Lucinda instead of Lucinda at Noctis magazine or working for someone else, so that was lovely. That was really nice that happened.
Success doesn't come from doing nothing, does it?
No.
You know, we all know about the law of, well, hopefully we know about the law of attraction and attracting to yourself the things that you want. I think the bit in between that is the effort to get it.
Yes.
And
then putting yourself out there. I remember you saying that to me a lot. Like, you're turning up. That was it.
Yeah,
you're
turning up, show up.
So that's really important. And now that is something that I naturally do all the time as well. You know, just putting your stuff out there, see what happens, because you have to.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So I want to take my line, push it higher end, so then I can exhibit at Fashion Week, because that's on my vision board as well. I want to get involved with Fashion Week, whether it's an exhibit or get something on a catwalk or just get plans moving. I want to exhibit at Fashion Week. And then a diffusion line would be, it's like a translation of my designs, but a little bit more wearable, affordable, attainable. So there would be two separate things. So anyway, I just don't want to carry on making stuff anymore.
So who are you thinking of working with for your diffusion?
Well, I'm going to approach designers, retailers that currently work with graduates and designers to do little collaborations. So I'm going to approach H&M, Topshop, ASOS, Urban Outfitters, River Island, and yes, those are the ones I'm going to
2
approach.
years ago, can you imagine yourself saying those words?
No, absolutely not.
What difference did working with a coach make to you?
For me, a huge...
Because you could have done all this on your own.
Oh God, no. For me, I just couldn't even imagine it, and I was just in such a whole different place before we worked together. And I just can't believe how much I changed, and when I think about where I was before everything, it makes me feel sad, because I realise my potential now, and I'm my own friend now, and I love myself now. I feel really sad for past me, for not being loved and believed in and trusted. So it's amazing how much I've changed my thought processes and the way my self-belief. That's huge. And I just tell everyone, I just want everyone to have access to what I've had from you. I think everyone should have that, because it will change your life. It will, 100%. I'm so grateful.